Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Forgotten Podcast. I'm your host, Catman Joe, and I'm joined here once again by none other than the cynic himself, Mr. Mass Cynic.
Yes, this is me. I'm a host called Marcinic. Very cool. Very
Yes.
cool. Yes.
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 We can edit that down. I'm saying
There's a cut right there.
Yes. Today, we are extremely happy to be joined once again by our longtime friend and old co-host for this podcast, Mr. SepticSpud, or as we know him, Bradley. When he last joined us as a guest and host now over 3 years ago, all three of us were in very different places, not only in our content creation journey, but also in our personal lives. Since then, though, a lot of things have changed and happened for all of us. For example, I continue to pursue my dream of content creation and now have moved my content from exclusively Minecraft to anything within the survival crafting genre, more recently finding success with games like 7 Days to Die. Matt Cynic has continued to work on and develop his video essay style content and found massive success with videos covering games such as Skylanders, Titanfall 2, and more recently Friday the 13th. Our podcast has also changed significantly, with both myself and Matt Cynic investing more time, energy, and money into the show, and in turn increasing the quality of the episodes in all aspects, whether it be by editing, scripting, or even guest choice. And it's with all this in mind that we have decided to invite Bradley back on our show one more time to not only help us remake one of our favourite episodes from the legacy era of our show, but also to reconnect with guests who in the years since their original debut have grown and changed significantly. So without further ado, please welcome SepticSpud once more to the Forgotten Podcast. Bradley, thank you for coming on and joining us. It's great to have you here, my man.
Thanks for inviting me, guys.
It's good to have you. We've just been talking, obviously, a little bit off camera there just for a second. Of course, Brad just got in here. We're just talking about how kind of crazy it is. We're here after 5 long years. I got to say, off script, kind of real. We're just mentioning this a second ago. This is mad because it's been 5 years. 5 years now. October 31st is when we started the first episode of the podcast.
Yeah.
Here we are, 5 years later. That's actually crazy.
What's the age difference then? Well, how old were you all then?
I would be, because Brad, you and I are about the same age, aren't we?
I just turned 25 this last month.
Right, you're a little bit older than me then. I'm 24,
Yeah.
so you would have been, what, 20 when we started? I was 19.
Sounds about right, yeah.
I was 19
I was
and
15, that's nuts.
Joe was 15, that's crazy. It is mad. I obviously, for anybody who's watching this right now, welcome to the podcast, welcome to the show. If you watch the first 3 episodes of our podcast, that's what this background is in the background. We've got, obviously, our original characters. You can't see all that well, but there's me on the far left there, it's a cat. You've got Brad in the middle, who can just be seen eye-wise, and then you've got Joe on the far right. If you want to see the full version, watch the first 3 episodes that are there.
You are usually on the far left.
Don't you dare. No, but don't you dare. But no, when it comes down to it, it's really awesome actually, because this was an era for all of us when all of our artwork was done by Sarah. Obviously, I'm sure Brad, you remember Sarah.
We should have got her on. All 4 of us would have been great. We could have spoken about tables.
We have talked about it once upon a time. There was an idea of getting Sarah on, but obviously never really came to fruition because never kept in contact, and kind of anything's on rocky. Wait, do you and Sarah still speak?
I hit her up every now and then just to see how she was doing.
Is she doing good? I hope she's doing
I still
well.
have her on. I still have her on Instagram. Last time I spoke to her, she was doing pretty good. She's doing her own art stuff and all that kind of thing. But
I'm glad.
Really haven't talked.
I'm glad she's kept on, because I remember, didn't you get obviously, we all got the artwork by her. I mean, I know that I did, you did, even Travis Zebros, he did, and obviously Joe, you did, and a
He
friend
still
of ours
uses it in some places as well, actually.
Yeah, I remember Too Many Turtle. I don't know if Brad, if you remember him. James,
yeah.
Too Many Turtle. He got his artwork done as well. It was a kind of a big thing. And then obviously we got the animated kind of background that we've got here, of course, by her and stuff. But I'm glad she's continued doing artwork, obviously, and it'd be maybe good.
I wonder if she's more susceptible these days to tables.
To table.
Yeah.
Let's not hash up old fights. Let's leave it in the past. Yeah, stirring the pot. Let's leave it in the past. Let's leave it in the past if possible. 100%. But Brad, it really is great to have you on, man. Again, like I said, it's been 5 years since we all started this podcast. 2019, October 31st is when we created the first episodes, or the first episode. And obviously, that only lasted for 3 episodes. And then if anybody doesn't already know, eventually we all went our separate ways a little bit. Me and Joe kind of collabed together and continued doing the podcast, mainly because of time zone stuff. There was a lot of shit back then. To be honest, it was stuff that I look back on and kind of cringe because I handled things poorly. But we came back. We done episode 14. Which was when Brad came back on the show as a guest, but also as well as a co-host. We went from episode 14 to episode 18 with you, Brad. I think it was episode 18, I'm pretty sure, because we done 19 and the 20. Or it might be in episode 19 as well. And we done a good couple of episodes together, and that was hella fun. So ever since then, obviously, it's been a long time. A lot of things have happened. A lot of things have changed. That was 3 years ago that we done that. So a lot has changed in general, of course. And a lot's happened. A lot's evolved for you and for all of us. So, I mean, I guess I want to begin. First question. I'm going to try and kind of have it on the script, have it off the script, not kind of read everything word for word. One of the big things I wanted to kind of bring up to you, Brad, because obviously, there has been a lot happen in these past 3 years. We're going to talk about a lot of things. But one of the biggest things that happened to you, and obviously, of course, your channel primarily this about, was from way back in May 2022. I know I'm giving you dates, so you might be like, I don't remember exactly what happened then. But you deleted seemingly all of your channel's content. You lost 250,000 channel views and what was, your entire online footprint on the internet, on YouTube. From looking over your Discord, your YouTube, your Twitter, your Instagram, you seemingly didn't share an official reason as to why you did this. But later in February and September 2023, so the next year, you did republish some of your more successful pieces of content. And that brought your channel view count combined up to about 70,000, about 67,000 to be specific, meaning there was still almost 200,000 views worth of content either privatized or deleted. So I wanted to ask you for our kind of beginning, kind of easy but an interesting question was, why did you do that? And did you fully delete the videos or content?
So I haven't deleted all the videos and content. It's just on private right now.
Right.
And the reason I did that was because at the time that I did that, I was really looking to like the algorithm and all that kind of stuff. And I had different types of content. Yes, it was Minecraft, but if it was different types of content like Bed Wars, like SMP styles, tutorials and all that kind of stuff. And I wanted to be known for more of like the survival aspect of things. So I wanted to get rid of, at least privatize those. That way the algorithm doesn't pick that up and my audience can continue growing as those, the Minecraft survival lovers and
Yeah.
not just like, oh, I need to watch this video to learn how to do this as a tutorial or something like that.
I get you. When you say the survival aspect, obviously we're talking about let's plays, just to be like
Yeah.
fully on the same. Yeah, let's plays and stuff. Because obviously you've continued that, you've been working on that, and you've found quite a bit of success recently with that. We'll be talking about it later on the show. We've got kind of a progression for how we're doing this, for like the bit by bit, of course, talking about
Yeah.
some different things. I kind of a weird sub question. Did you regret it? Did you ever like think back and go, I wish I hadn't, privatized those? Because obviously you were, I think at that point as well, 250,000 views. You had I don't know how many videos. I mean, obviously only and there was a substantial amount. No, I mean, dude, you'd been doing it for years. You kind of, no doubt, in some sense, obviously it was maybe better for you at that time, like you said, kind of obviously just focusing or making the focus of your channel be let's play content. But you did also as well remove a lot of tutorials and old school kind of content. So no doubt that would have stopped your your monthly views from continuing to go up. So yeah, did you regret it? Did you regret it at all? Or did you look back on it? You're like, not really.
I kind of have mixed feelings about it because like you said, I don't get those monthly views or however. And I mean, I took a break from YouTube because of one moving across country and then moving I after that I started getting into YouTube again. And then me and my wife moved into our house and took a break then, and then I got back into it. And in that time frame, I don't know, because I lost or I privatized a lot of my videos, but I did end up losing my YouTube partnership, so I got to work
Oh
on getting
wow,
that back.
wow! I'm sorry to hear that.
But
How did you end up
that's
losing it? Was that just like
I don't know. I have
I
no
think
idea.
I think what it is, and it's really annoying, it's really stupid, but I kind of get it. It's something to do with like you guys can correct me if I'm wrong here, right? I'm pretty sure it's like the minimum threshold for us to get monetization is 4,000 hours of watch time and
Yeah.
1,000 subscribers. Correct me if
Yes.
I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Right. And you can get like memberships and stuff at like
Mhm.
500 subs and 3,000 watch hours, but like obviously you want full monetization.
Yeah.
But that's within a 12-month period. So if in that, if, like from say you get monetization on January 1st of like say 2024, if by January 1st of 2025, if you've gained under 4,000 watch hours that year in that year period, then you lose partnership. I think it sucks. It's such a shame because like
Yeah.
I
you
actually didn't
worked
know
hard to get
that.
there.
That's kind of
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah,
It
I didn't
is,
know that
yeah.
either. I thought like you kept it, but
You
at the
should. I
same
mean,
time,
that's the thing.
it's a business on the
Yeah.
YouTube side of things, so I understand it, and
Mhm.
I don't have anything against them on it because I took the break. It's not
Yeah,
they said, hey, take a break. It was me being like, hey, life's happening. I got to take a break from this. And
yeah,
so
yeah.
I completely understand it. It sucks, but I'm working my way up again. So
Yeah, grinding back up to that stage, grinding back up
yeah,
to that stage indeed, and I'm glad to hear that. You mentioned your wife there a moment ago. Obviously we've got kind of, we're going to talk about her, and obviously, of course, how things have changed you, because that's a huge part. These
yeah.
past 5 years, obviously, since we started the show,
Oh
but
yeah.
mainly the past 3 years since you were last on. I mean, God, you're married. Like, dude, what? This is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, I feel old, right? You make me feel
I
old
know,
here
right?
because, like, I'm not married, and all my friends are getting married.
Dude,
All the
I
people
see
that I've
people my age
known.
with kids, and that freaks me out.
Yeah.
Dude, oh, it's crazy to think. But do you mind me asking? Because obviously I've got a name there. Is it Alora? Is that how you pronounce
Yes,
it? Alora,
Allaura.
like
Yeah,
Laura, but Alora. Yeah, let's
Allura.
say, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because I kept reading it, and I was like, is it Lura? And I'm like, no, it's Alora. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. So yeah, I'm glad I got right there. I'm glad. I just wanted to check. I didn't want to say it wrong.
So
You're
you
like,
found
Joe, you
out
got it wrong.
Alora was the Laura.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Good.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, I mean, dude, I'm glad that we can have a catch up here. I'm glad we can have a good kind of chat and stuff. Like I said, we've got a bunch of questions here.
Mhm.
Obviously, talking about Let's Play stuff, we're probably going to touch on that very, very, very soon. I'll let Joe jump into that because that's kind of where
Yeah.
we're going next.
Segues are our thing over at
They
TFP, I'll
always
tell you
are.
that.
They always
But
are.
if there's a cut here, you know why, because I'm going to re-record this if need be.
Oh boy.
In the past 3 years, you've almost exclusively... There we go. I actually did this perfectly before recording.
He
In the
did.
past Shut the fuck up! In the past 3 years, you've almost exclusively focused on Minecraft Let's Play related content, and without sounding too critical, you found little success until recently with your 2 new series. The first series you did that started back in May did well, with the first episode getting 2,000 plus views, and a couple of the following episodes broke 100 views or more. Then you more recently started a fresh world and series, and that has done quite well, with 3 of the 5 new episodes breaking 1,000 views. Sorry, not to discredit you there, but I was wondering why you haven't decided to try testing some other types of content, or even go back to making more educational related content. Like what you did in 2019, which you thought, I'm going to kill myself. What you did in I want to die. Like what you did in 2019. I don't know why I didn't see like, which brought you the most online success that you've had thus far. There we go.
So the question was, why I haven't tried anything else?
Yeah, like
pretty
why haven't
much.
you kind of experimented or even taken a step back to like the education
And gone
kind of
back to what
content?
you were doing because you found original success with that.
Well, I feel like I've always I found more success in the survival aspect. By success, I'm not talking about views and all that kind of stuff,
Right,
because
right.
yes, you get views, a lot of views for tutorials and all that, but I don't enjoy that type of content. So I like, doing my own thing now. I like making my own builds, my own farms and all that kind of stuff. And so maybe eventually I make tutorials on the stuff that I create. But for me, myself, personally, I find the success in gathering that community of people. Yeah, it's not as many views as I would in a tutorial. Like I have like a flying machine, slime block flying machine video that has like 20 something thousand views or something like that. But that's just, if you do a tutorial, most of the time you get pretty high numbers. But I enjoy
I like to refer to tutorials as the dark side of YouTube. They do well, but it's the default setting that I don't want to ever go to. But they do well. I understand why people do them, for sure.
I like building up a story, and playing Minecraft survival ends up building that story of your world. Now, the split time frame, in the previous 3 episodes or something like that, in the 5 episodes recently, it's the same exact world.
Oh, is
But
it? I thought it was a different world.
It was just a break in between because of moving into our new house and all that kind of stuff, and then I decided to start in a different area of that world. It's the same exact world.
Same world, just different part of it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you obviously, of course, it's kind of like, I guess, a continuation, you could say, in
Yeah.
that regard. Yeah. I mean, you have found success, the Let's Plays, and I do understand. It was kind of it was an interest because, I mean, Brad, you've always known me. I've always kind of been the guy to be like, you should do tutorials. You should, and I've said it to Joe, I've said it to you, and you guys have staunchly kind of been like, it's not always what we enjoy. I mean, that's not everybody's content, right? And as content creators, we should be creative and do what we want to do, and that's what's most important.
I think it's incredibly hard to find a niche. I think I was quite fortunate with the success that I've had in my area.
Yeah.
But I definitely think it's a, not to discredit people that do it, but it is an easier way of going about it, because there is a formula that works with tutorials, whereas you don't have much leeway to do anything with it afterwards. But
Yeah,
I
I
understand why
mean,
people stay away
I
from it.
respect you both greatly. I always have because in that regard, like you guys know, I mean, of the three of us, I've always kind of focused on the educational content because that has always been what gets the views, gets the subs, that kind of thing. And I guess that was my definition of success. Like you said, Brad, that wasn't kind of your definition. That wasn't your definition of like that's what is successful. You're not looking at the numbers per se, right? I mean, if the video does well, I'm sure you're happy, but that's not the main drive for you. You're kind of doing this as a creative outlet. You like to tell a story, and doing the let's plays is your way of doing that, which I have nothing but respect for. And I think same with Joe with the video essay stuff. It's doing things that you're passionate in, as opposed to doing tutorials that you might not even really enjoy making all that much.
Yeah.
And it becomes a question of yes, you can make tutorials endlessly and gain maybe a lot of views, but if you don't enjoy it, what's really the point?
Yeah,
And
is it worth it?
yeah, and I've always really respected you both for that because I've done a couple let's plays on my own, about 3 actually to be specific, but I've never been able to get into them because I've always had that fear of what if they underperform and they don't do that well and it's a waste of my time or whatever, because I kind of had a different mindset, and I also, I guess, I just wasn't really as confident in myself to take that step. I've never really been that. I'm a creative guy, as I know you both know, but I've never really been able to push myself in the direction of like I'm just going to do this for creative passion, like Joe has with video essays, where it might take a month to make, but he doesn't know how
I
it's going to
hate my schedule.
perform.
Don't look at my channel.
No, yeah. But it might take a while to make, and he doesn't know how it'll go. But he's just going to make it because he wants to make it, and I love that. And it's the same with you, Brad, in that regard to Let's Plays. So, I understand that. I do understand. I've always kind of been like, friends of mine all over YouTube. Whether it's you, Brad, whether it's Joe, whether it's my buddy, Gabe or Hilo Souls or Xavier or you name it. Always been the peddler of like, do educational content. You'll get a lot more views, and I've always heard the same response of, we know, but it just isn't maybe what we want to do. And I'm like,
Yeah.
like I get it, and I respect it, man. I do respect that for sure. So that's valid. I'm glad to hear that, Brad. I'm glad to hear that from you, bro. That you're kind of sticking to your guns with it and you're doing what you want to do.
Mhm.
Moving on from there, though, I wanted to kind of take a bit of a detour in this podcast because obviously we're talking about your channel and we're going to talk about your personal life and what's going on, what's changed in the past couple of years. But something that is related to both your channel and obviously you, of course, is a new passion project that you started called the Triumph of Testimonies, which, from my understanding, and please do correct me if I'm wrong, was a podcast, or is a podcast, where people can come on and speak about what led them to their faith and the things that they went through to get there. And from watching the first episode, where you shared your own personal journey from you when you were young and when you would skip church to hang with your brother and your cousin, to then you later in life and as a young man, of course, no longer really going to church and really seemingly even being that interested in it, and to some extent even questioning the validity of the Bible in your own obviously words. To then, of course, you later in life having seemingly a life-changing conversation with your father-in-law that pulled you back to your faith. And with all that in mind, I wanted to ask you if you could share how the journey has been for you, and also, of course, on top of that, how your life has been now that you've found faith again.
Well, this journey in my faith has been a pretty wild one. Not as wild as some people's, because I look at it as um like some people had to go through, like, in a sense, hell and back
Yeah,
to find their faith, right? And I look at mine as I got off pretty easy, but at the end of the day, it's not about what we go through, it's about the Lord saving you. And that's what makes a testimony, is that the Lord, with his grace, saved me, saved a bunch of my friends, a bunch of people. And that's what a testimony is. And my life has, in my eyes, flipped like 180 degrees ever since I came to the faith. I have a lot of people at work who, like yesterday, I was just talking to one of my coworkers, and he was like, "Man, I'm just so proud of you. Like, from the guy you were to the man you are today."
How far you've come.
Yeah, it's like a complete 180, because I would like have some debates with him about religion, and then like just like the love that I have, not just for people but for the Lord. It's just like I guess it just resonates off, and it just shows people like the true meaning of Christ.
I do remember, in the first episode, obviously the podcast. And would you define it as a podcast? Am I
Yeah.
wrong in saying that?
I
Yeah.
I would say it's a podcast. Now, I haven't done a video in a minute because it's just been, life's been hectic and all that kind of stuff. I'm wanting to get back into it, but I would say it's a podcast, and it's a podcast that I started because I'm trying to remember the verse right off the top of my head, but it's talking about testimonies and how powerful testimonies are. And whenever people talk about their testimonies to another person, it just encourages others to seek out the Lord and to build that relationship with him.
That's what I was going to say there with it, because with the first episode, obviously, I know that the second episode was obviously your wife, and she was talking about her journey, of course, which was, may I say, really, really, really beautiful in general to listen to. I was actually with Ree at the time. I was working on the script, and I remember I was listening to the first and second episode, and I hadn't really known about it, obviously, because I was doing research and I was kind of digging in it. I'd found out more, and as someone, I mean, I'm sure someone know Brad. Obviously, I'm not the most religious person in the world. I know Joe. I mean, what would you say? Would you say you are?
Uh,
You would
Probably absurdism is my main thing.
It's
But
absurd,
yeah,
because I've always taken you as kind of like you are kind of a non-believer. You have no religion.
I'm quite nihilistic in terms of
Yeah,
like
yeah,
what I believe. I don't think
and
anything
yeah,
happens.
and for me, I was kind of on that kind of zone for a long time. I was kind of I think the term I heard, I think it was PewDiePie, weirdly enough, influencer. I heard him say was agnostic, which
Oh,
is
I
like
thought you were
you're
saying
kind
the
of
term is called PewDiePie.
no,
Like,
no, no, no. Imagine. No, no,
I'm
no.
PewDiePie,
It
guys.
was
It's my
the
religion.
mindset of that. I was more on the fence, and I guess it was
Yeah.
because I wasn't raised in any sort of like religion. I wasn't raised with
Were you
with
not
any sort of
christened or
religion.
anything?
No, not at all.
I
My mom
was
and my dad
christened,
weren't.
but yeah.
Wow, well, my mom and my
My
dad were not at all invested in religion. Not that they
hmm.
had any interest against it. My dad more so, but my mom was kind of more forthcoming
my
of it.
my nan is Christian. My
Wow,
mum was Christian. I don't think she is anymore, but she used to be quite Christian, but she isn't
right.
anymore.
Yeah.
So I've kind of come out of it. I've kind of done like the opposite of what Brad's done, really.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was mainly with Ree, we've talked about it a little bit and stuff, because Ree was raised, she went to a Catholic school and stuff, and we've talked about it, and she obviously kind of has been raised with religion in her life, although she doesn't go to church and kind of really practice. She has been raised with religion, and she does find it of value, because it gives people a lot of hope and a lot of comfort, especially in life. And I think that's one of the best things about religion.
I
Excuse me.
will I will like praise that though. Like I like that there is that aspect of religion. I can't believe in it. I physically just can't. I would like to be able to have that comfort.
But you
I
just
think it
not
would be
being able
really
to.
nice for me to go, when I'm gone, there is somewhere for me. I just physically don't believe that's a possibility. So I do understand why people enjoy that thought. And I think that's important for people to go by day and stuff like that. But
I think that
it's
the
interesting.
biggest thing is comfort, and I do love and respect religion for that, and I've it's kind of made me somewhat be more open to the idea of believing in religion and stuff, and looking more into it and stuff like that. And that's how, as I was saying there, Brad, I was watching your your podcast, obviously the first and second episode, obviously the first with you, and you were talking about how, and please feel free to jump in at any point here, you were talking about how when you were a young young lad, you were going to church and you would skip it to hang with your brother and your cousin because you weren't really as invested,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you would no doubt go on the odd occasion and properly go, but you'd rather skip. And then as you got older, I don't know what age you were referring to in the podcast when you mentioned this, but you were kind of becoming a young man and you were kind of challenging people on their belief, even though you'd been raised with the belief, you were kind of just not believing. And then please, obviously, feel free to share here, because obviously I didn't mention it there, but you said you had a life-changing conversation with your father-in-law, and then one day, was it not at work, just something happened? If you want to continue from there and share what happened that kind of helped you kind of change.
Yeah, so I had a conversation with my father-in-law. We were at our apartment and they came over for dinner, and I was one that was always debating with my wife about uh the Lord and Christianity and all that kind of stuff. I turned it to, I wanted to believe in God and Jesus, but I didn't believe in the Bible, which a lot of people have an issue with the Bible because
Yeah.
it's a book. I completely understand that.
What aspects of the Bible would you say are like different to the people that it speaks about, though? Like I'm trying to get my head around that, is all.
Like what
Because
are you
it
talking
speaks
about?
of Jesus and God, right? Like, so you
Yeah.
believe in the people, but not the book about the people that make sure that
Well,
you know about them.
mine was like the whole like the flood and like the stories from thousands of years ago. That's a part of the Bible. I didn't know how true those stories were. I didn't know about the chronological order of the world, and we still don't.
Okay.
I mean,
Mhm.
everything that scientists say when it comes to like not about like the human body or anything like that, nothing we can verify now, but something about thousands of years ago, millions of years ago, like we don't have validity. It's all theory. But anyways, on that,
Yeah.
I had this conversation with my father-in-law. He was there and we were just talking about it. And the one thing he said was that out of all the religions that are out there, through Christianity, through Jesus, all he wants for you is to love him. That's it. And that really struck something in my heart. And I had people at my job who my job is a Christian company, and
Oh, okay.
they are like devout Christians. Like I've had the CEO, the owner say, "Hey, I would rather you take 5 minutes out of your day to pray for somebody than just let them go on their day depressed, anxious, upset. Yeah, I would rather you take 5 minutes out of your day to be there for somebody." And I I've had people have deep conversation with me at work about religion, and one day I was on one of those machines that I'm harnessed in. I go up in the machine to grab a part,
Oh,
and
yeah, like on like the high up shelves, I'm guessing, and stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm on one of those machines. I just woke up irritated that day. I used to wake up at 3:30 in the morning every morning to go into work,
Oh, wow.
and I was just irritated, just upset, and just what my father-in-law told me just kept ringing in the back of my mind.
Well, it just
And
stayed with you.
yeah, and so I just stopped what I was doing. I was up in the air. I was up in the air, and I was just like, Lord, like I'm giving it all to you. I have full confidence and full belief in you. I give my heart to you. And just instantly from my head to my toes, just a wave of peace came over me. And
And well,
that's when I knew like I was like Jesus truly loved me.
and was it? Would you say from that moment forward, you kind of devoted yourself?
Oh
You're
yeah.
back to your religion. And you mentioned your obviously your father-in-law was the one who mentioned this to you. And you would kind of talk with your wife and stuff about this.
Mhm.
Obviously, was your wife, was she fully religious when she met you and stuff? Was that kind of the thing, or did she come back into religion as well, or did she already have like
She was already in the religion.
right?
She's loved Jesus ever since she was a kid. She had her spat with like witchcraft and like
She mentioned in her episode
tarot and
that
all
was kind of
that
like
kind of
wow,
stuff.
like wow, yeah,
Yeah, but she
That's
always
quite the switch up, you know.
I know,
that
right?
is,
And I mean that really is from, teenage curiosity,
yeah,
and everybody goes through that. Like I had my thing about like not believing and always debating people about it.
yeah, yeah.
Um she's always just had that love for Jesus ever since she was a kid. Even though she went through that, she's always found that comfort and that love from Jesus. And so it's just always been with her.
Well, I correct me if I'm wrong because obviously I watched her episode as well, and it was a little while ago, so I might be misremembering. But didn't she almost die? She had some like really severe things going on at the hospital or something. She had
Yeah.
mentioned in the episode. In the episode.
So she was diagnosed with diabetes at the age of 12, and it was from family heritage, like she inherited from her family.
Genes, yeah.
Yeah. And then she was born with a hole in her heart, and they didn't catch it till she was like I think 16 or
Oh
something
my
like that.
God!
So she's had open heart surgery. And
Wow.
then she was in a really bad wreck wherever the strongest bone, the hardest bone to break in her leg, she broke.
Is that the femur? I think Joe.
I
Correct me.
think so.
You maybe know a bit better than me. Is it femur?
Yeah, I think it is the female.
At the
Yeah,
femur, yeah. They say if you break it, back at least in the early 1900s, you could like if you broke that, it was like
Hmm.
life threatening. It was really, really,
Oh
really
yeah,
yeah.
bad.
because they couldn't get to it at all back then. It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
basically
you
life ending.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Oh gosh. Well, yeah, no, I remember her mentioning that in an episode. And I was like, wow, she went for a lot, and obviously, I know you went through your own struggles as well, obviously, and like you said, there's plenty of other people that went through maybe harder struggles and stuff. So that's why I've always respected and appreciated religion for that because it is a
Hmm.
fact that it gives people comfort and it also as well it gives them a calling in that regard, which is important. And it also to some extent as well. I mean, another thing me and Ree have talked about this quite actually quite often. It gives people morals, and I think that's something
Hmm.
that is kind of it's, in our society, our ages. We're young guys in our 20s. Yeah, something we don't see a lot nowadays, and I think that's partially because religion and beliefs in religion have kind of somewhat started to sway a little bit in kind of our generation of people, young people.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I appreciate you sharing that. Obviously, in general,
I,
man, that really is appreciated.
I do want to say just something for anybody watching, for you two, whatever. If you don't believe in the Lord, the one thing that I always say to myself is um, just give it a chance and just have zero doubts in your mind that he is real.
Be
And
open minded. Yeah.
yes, just have like absolutely no doubts that he's real and he will show himself to you. Like whether it's through good works from other people, whether it's like the Holy Spirit coming upon you and you just feel that like rush of peace like I felt, like just give it a chance.
No, thank you, man. I mean, it was something that, obviously in these past couple of years since you came on, that was a big thing. Obviously, of course, you've got your relationship, obviously with your wife, and there's a lot more that we're going to talk about very soon. And that's kind of why I wanted to have us progress through this, talking about your channel first, and then obviously now your podcast, because I did think this was something that obviously it meant a lot to you, definitely. You know what I mean in that regard. I know that Joe's got a follow up question that we kind of touched on. We probably let him mention.
I just wanted to quickly bring up before that though.
Mhm.
You are aware of the name of the episode? Like, I think that's quite important and quite interesting for the storytelling of our script when it comes from progression.
Yeah,
We've
yeah,
actually named it "Leaving the Digital World Behind," and as you've realised, we've gone from speaking about your experiences with YouTube and how that slowly, how religion has come into your life, how your wife has come into your life, all these other, wonderful things have kind of made you, go into that sort of new era of your life where it feels like you're not abandoning what you've done, of course, but you have now got so much more peace in yourself that you're kind of going on in a different direction, kind of.
Yeah.
And I think it was cool that we were just going to mainly talk about that as we go forward because
yeah,
it's, a new
yeah.
segment of your life. Following on from Joe's question, I wanted to ask, what are your plans going forward with the Triumph of Testimonies podcast? What you mentioned in your first episode that you wanted to get your boss Dustin on on the show, as you found his testimony to be deeply encouraging, and you even got your wife on for the second episode, which was beautiful to watch as you both have clearly found such comfort with your faith. However, with the last upload being 3 months ago, I thought it would be appropriate to ask if you've got any plans for upcoming episodes or if you were just taking a break.
So I do have plans. I have one that's recorded, but the guy that I recorded it with wants to re-record it because he says he wants to add stuff in, but I believe he wants to leave some stuff out that he did say just off the whim. So it's a
What sort of thing, may I ask? Because that's interesting to me.
Maybe that might be.
It's a very personal thing. Like
I presume.
sharing your testimony is a very personal thing, and I want people to be very comfortable, but also stepping over that edge of being able to share their testimony with people, because once you do, just the encouragement has been always there for people. It's always been there for me. So I have plans with having people on. I want to be able to reach out and get people more online too, because I mean, I'm very limited here in my town, and my job. I'm very limited with the people that I know, but I know a lot more people online in different countries, different parts of the US, up in Canada. I'm a part of a Discord group, some Christian Minecraft content creators.
Oh wow!
And
Really?
yeah, and so I'm gonna eventually have them on, some of them on, talking about their
That'd be
testimonies and all
a
that.
really cool idea. I can't lie. That'd be actually really cool.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So I do have plans. It's just life happened, and so I got
feel
stuff
that.
I got to
It's
do.
fine.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
we
like-
all know that quite well. It happens.
We've all been there. We've all, life happens, things change. I mean, I'm a little small thing. I just thought I mentioned it because obviously I'm sure you maybe have noticed. I don't know if you have. Excuse me. You started a brand new podcast channel or a brand new channel for this podcast, and that was obviously the Triumph of Testimonies, channel. I didn't know if I wasn't too sure if you knew, but you could also upload podcasts to your YouTube channel, and there's an actual podcast category now. It's a new feature from YouTube. I wasn't sure if you were aware because I was just thinking that instead of you having to work on 2 different channels simultaneously or anything like that, you could have more content for your main channel and kind of maybe show it to your current audience. But then again, if you don't want to push it on your current audience, maybe have them have the option of coming over. I do think a separate channel would be good.
Yeah, that's something that I really thought about, is like, I don't want to be pushing it, because I know a lot of people who I've talked to who have been like, man, you're pushing it too much. Like it's completely a personal walk with Christ, and so I don't want to be like, hey, shoving something down somebody's throat, being like, hey,
No, yeah,
so
you want to give them the option.
I did not know about the podcast option, but still thinking about it,
It
I'd
was a better
probably still
option than a separate
keep
channel.
it on a separate channel.
Yeah, I just thought I'd mention it there. Well, for kind of one of our last kind of mentions, well, not last, there's actually another kind of mention of the triumph testimonies in a minute after
Just
my
lying at this
question.
point.
I am. That's what it is. You mentioned in your first episode of the Triumph of Testimonies podcast that you had met Alora, your wife, of course, in Home Depot only a month after moving from California. But you
Mhm.
didn't specify how you both got introduced to each other or how, in under a year, you both went from just dating to getting engaged and obviously getting your apartment together. And then eventually, after a year and a half, now, of course, being married. Can you
Mhm.
share with us how everything came together so fast and yeah, I guess what she's done to your life, how she's been in your life as an influence, I can imagine it's been amazing.
So her and my relationship, I just give it to the Lord, you know. I was living out in California. I had no plans of moving out here. My family moved out here. I still stayed out in California. And then Easter Sunday, I was FaceTiming my family and I was like instantly I was like, "Yep, I'm moving. I'm moving out there." So I picked up, came out here, and we just met. She was a cashier and I was working lumber, and we just met just by her needing help with like finding a part number for a customer or whatever like that. And we just got to talking more and more at each other on Facebook. She sent me her number and just hit it off there, you know. And the crazy thing is, so we started dating, and then 9 months later, we got engaged. And then 9 months after being engaged, we got married.
Wow.
She carried me
That's
to
crazy.
term 2 times.
Dude, I mean that must have felt obviously that's so quick, and I mean a lot of relationships takes years for people to get married. I mean, was there a push or was it just that you both were like, we love each other, we're committed, we want to make this deeper, we want to have those vows be said?
Yeah, no, I have always I've always wanted a family, you know?
You've said that from the get-go, I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've
You've
said
said
that
that. I
And
all the
remember
times.
doing the original podcast episodes and you
yeah.
being
Yeah,
very family
you've always
orientated.
said that.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. And I don't know, it just mine and her relationship at the beginning, it was kind of rocky. Some mistakes were made, but just our relationship grew extraordinarily compared to a lot of others' relationships. And I just felt it one day after work. I was like, hey, grab my buddy from work. I was like, hey, we're going to go to Walmart real fast. And I just picked up a not so cheap ring from Walmart.
Oh gosh,
And
wow.
I was just like, it just hit me that day. I was like, I'm going to get a ring.
I'm gonna marry this girl. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That's,
yeah.
I'm going to buy a ring. I went
What's the
like,
price tag on that?
You don't have to share it. He's being
it
sarcastic.
wasn't expensive, but it wasn't cheap at the same time. So
Okay,
let's
we'll
just
leave
say
that
Wow.
up to you guys to interpret.
let's just say because of life and finances, it was less than $1,000, but
Right, right.
it was still pretty pricey.
Yeah, no, yeah,
So
yeah. Dude, I mean, wow. And I mean, obviously, I don't know much about her, obviously, at the moment. Obviously, I only know so much from what you shared.
mhm.
But I mean, is she a gamer? Do you have a lot of similar interests? Like, where are you at in that regard?
She's not much of a gamer per se. She loves Minecraft.
That's
She
good.
loves Minecraft,
That's keeper. That's good.
I'm
and I
basically
know,
telling
right?
you to run right now.
I know, right? She loves playing she just loves playing games with other people. Like me and her will we'll play Minecraft together. We'll play this game called Raft together. There's
Oh, I
this
know
game
Raft.
called Bronzebeard Tavern on Steam that we play with my brother, his girlfriend, her, me. She just loves playing games with other people, not so much by herself. She plays Sims every now and then, but a lot of her times is she spends, cleaning up the house, doing chores, and then like watching YouTube, stuff like
Just
that.
chilling.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I'm really happy for you, man. I mean, that was one of the big things when writing the script and kind of getting you on. It was kind of, obviously we have a lot of people that come on our show and that have came on our show, and we've been doing it now for 5 years. I know, Brad, you were a big part of that, especially at the beginning of our legacy era, is what we call it.
Mhm.
Which was the first, I'd say the first 20 episodes. I'm sure Joe, you would agree, that kind of it was before we start using StreamYard when we were recording on
They
PlayStation. I know you
certainly
remember all too
existed, yeah.
well.
But
Yeah,
that was already an upgrade though from like
oh
sitting on my
yeah.
bed on Skype. Do you remember
Yeah,
that?
exactly. Yeah, literally. Yeah. So, we've come a long way, and we've had a lot of people that have been like, hey, man, I've been a long time friend, long time viewer, and also, of course, maybe even a guest who's came on the show. I'd love to come back on. Would that be possible? And we've had to go listen. we would rather you come back on when we think you're ready, which is when we think enough has changed and you've grown and enough's happened. And unfortunately, that can take some time, of course, naturally. But with you, Brad, of course, these past 3 years, it's a significant amount of time.
You've
But
made some like major life changes that
yeah,
obviously
yeah,
can't go
dude. I mean,
unnoticed.
it's really mad how much has changed these past 3 years, and I'm so happy for you, man. Because like you said, you've always been very family oriented, and you've always really wanted a family of your own. Of course, you've got your own family, but I mean, in terms of like starting your own family, and I'm so glad that you and your wife now can start that journey together. It's really fantastic, and I'm really happy for you, man. I gotta say that.
I appreciate that, man.
Sorry I couldn't make the wedding.
I know, what the heck, man. What the heck? It's all right. I'll do my
terrible.
best to make it for you and Rhea. I don't know if I
Good.
can.
You better, man. You better.
When's
I'll
my
let-
invite to these weddings? Well,
Joe, you can
Joe's
come.
wedding.
You can come. Yeah,
Yeah?
you can come.
Cool.
Transition.
This is the transition.
Woo!
I
a
knew
great
that was
one.
coming. I
It's
didn't
a
want to
great
say
one.
it, but yeah. Do you like
Hey.
the little arm movement? I think it adds all to it.
You like
But yeah.
you like my wooden panel wall that's from like the 60s?
I do. I love the green screen as well. I've got the green screen back there. You can see kind of tacked up. It's
Do you
more
like
the
my
organic
asylum white room?
Yes.
Honestly, every other wall is blank white. I'm going mental, but
Well,
it's fine.
this whole entire room, like majority of the rooms in this house, have the wood panels,
Oh, okay.
and so behind this green screen, I put it up because it's just plain old drywall. Because I took the panel
Oh.
off, no paint.
Oh,
no
you got that
nothing, it's
weak
just-
American infrastructure. You punch through
Yeah.
that thing, it's gone.
I know, right?
Good old
But
brick.
we're working on fixing it up. But holidays are coming up, finances.
Getting a bit
trying
tight.
to figure
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna get started. I think that's gonna be a thing I'm gonna do. Yeah. How does that sound?
That sounds
I've got
good. I
everyone's
like
permission.
that. I like
Maybe.
that.
Yeah?
You've got
I
a lot
like
of
it.
permission.
Cool. Fantastic. Consent. Everyone's consenting.
No.
Joe's got his mouth full as per usual. Love it. With you creating the triumph of testicles. Oh fuck! Kill me. With you creating the Triumph of Testimonies podcast channel, it made me think about all the other channels you've created over the past few years, including SepticSpud, the main channel, but also SepticSpud HC, SepticSpud YT, and Septic Plays. These are all, channels you've got that you've left to die. And you've seemingly left behind a lot of these channels, if not all of them. So I was just wondering if you could share what your intentions were with these channels and why you ended up leaving them behind.
So, I started like SepticSpud YT and the smaller channels because I was testing out again the algorithm. That was during that time frame I was testing out the algorithm of saying, okay, this was before I privatized a lot of my videos. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I have a bunch of different types of videos on my main channel. So let me test this out on this channel to see if I stick with one type of content, if it would work a lot better. And I got like maybe a couple episodes into like SepticSpud YT, and I just lost complete interest in it. And so I just went back to SepticSpud, and then I tried SepticSpud HC because I was in that grind of hardcore, and I was like, okay, purely hardcore content. Let's see if this will work. Tried that. It worked decently. I was streaming mostly, not really videos. It worked decently, but then I moved.
I'm surprised you didn't keep that on your main channel though, because you wanted to be known for survival, and obviously hardcore is that.
Yes,
tenfold.
but like I said at that time, I was thinking, okay, on my main channel, I have a lot of different content.
The tutorials, the C showcases, I think
So
you've done as well.
I wanted to see if having just strictly one type of content on my channel would work out a lot better. And I think the SepticSpud hardcore was in the time frame of I was still out in California, I believe, and because of the break that I took from moving from California to out across country, it just fizzled out because I didn't have the greatest internet. I couldn't do much. So
I remember
a year
that
or so.
Yeah. Did you say it was horrible? You were always like, dude, I can't stream. I've got terrible internet. I can't. Really
I couldn't do a thing.
Yeah.
We were going to bring this up at some point, I think, but do you remember before we got into recording, Joe, you were saying this would be the first time we've all got decent Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
isn't it crazy? We finally, after 5 years, we've all got good Wi-Fi and face cams. It's amazing. Can you believe it? And I
Didn't
mean,
you?
weirdly enough, we've all got glasses as well. I've not got mine on at the minute because I wanted to look cool. But like, we've all got glasses.
Hey,
We're all in the same vibe now. We've all got poor vision. You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's
that's what it
called
is.
getting old. That's what it is.
Oh, dude,
it's
I'm
called
going
5 years
grey.
of doing TFP.
Dude, I've got a couple grey hairs. Joe's blonde. He's lucky. He won't even notice for a while.
I know,
I've
I've
been
right?
got the
grey for
grey
about 5
hairs.
years as well.
I've got the greys coming in, man. Honestly, Ree's pulled me
So
off
do
a
I.
few times and plucked him out. I'm like, oh no, don't. I can't even. Pure silver. I'm like, dude, I'm 24, going on 25. Give me a
God,
break.
you're ancient,
Yeah.
you two. I tell you that.
Uh,
My wife has pulled out some gray hairs out of here, and every time she does, I'm like, it's blonde. Okay, it's just
it's
gray
just
blonde.
blonde. I'm not going grey.
You
It's
can't
not
tell
happening.
it's gray. Okay, it's
Dude,
blonde.
It's
we're too young.
toned
We're too young.
blonde. It's fine.
That's it. That's it. Exactly. Oh, but no, it is crazy. This is the first time we've all had good internet and
Yes.
also had good quality. It's brilliant. We're all on PC. We've all
Do
got
you know how
face
sick I
cams, we've all got
was
good internet.
of like
That-
mugshot freeze frames of myself?
Joe
Like-
went through a really bad era. I mean, Joe, you did. You went
Do you
through.
remember that one
went through it
episode
as
where I went
well.
under the desk and I was screaming?
Oh, he was livid because it was just constant jittering and bad Wi-Fi. But we've all had it. We've all been there. It's a horrible thing, and that's why I'm glad we could come here today and now to have a catch up, to obviously get together, because it's been a long time. I think it's the first time all three of us have got together since we last recorded a podcast episode. Really, I mean, all of us in one call, one sitting, and I mean, we're longtime friends. We've all known each other for 5 years. It's really good. It's really nice to be able to get together and actually do this. I really mean that. And transitioning naturally, we're going to go on to the next question, which is kind of about us and about, obviously, not really about us, but about you, Brad, in your personal life, of course, because like we said, we're trying to take this one step at a time and go through how things have gone for you in the past 3 years. And one of the things that we see a lot with creators that we've had on the show and friends of ours in general is that they always seem to struggle with maintaining a healthy balance between their online lives and their personal lives. It's always a battle on both fronts. And for example, to be the most productive we can be with, making content and streaming and stuff like that, obviously, of course, as well, thinking of new video ideas, we often neglect looking after ourselves mentally or even physically, which in turn, of course, means we are finding success online in the digital world, but at the same time, we are damaging ourselves in the real world. And then obviously, of course, you've got the opposite end of the spectrum where, if we do focus on our relationships with family, friends, loved ones, or even our health or, general real life, we can often very easily lose the ability to be able to create content consistently, maintain growth, and even over time find the success we desire to maintain and keep working on our, YouTube channels. And the reason why I point all of this out, of course, other than just to, depress everybody, right?
To rub it in.
Is to rub it in is, it's because obviously, of course, Brad, with you focusing more on your own personal life and your channel has suffered, and I know that you know this, obviously, of course, you've noticeably struggled with consistency and maintaining growth. And for example, this past year you posted a total of 11 videos, which is good. It's something, it's moving in the right direction, but all of which have been Minecraft Let's Plays, and you've gained less than 10,000 views and about 70 subscribers altogether. Not to sound depressing or a negative nanny, but that's what's going on. So my question with all of this is, what has it been like for you trying to maintain that balance between your personal life, your wife, your newfound kind of family in that regard, of course, and obviously, of course, growing into a young man and an adult most of all, and obviously trying to maintain your online life. Are there some things that you wish you had done differently looking back?
Well, I've always had that struggle. I mean, first, like with the podcast, with you guys, always had that struggle of me having to go to work or me having these things to do.
Oh my
And you
God,
guys are
the
like,
amount
we
of
want
calls
to
where
do
I
a
would be cussing you
podcast.
out.
But I've always had that struggle. And I believe with coming to the faith and all that kind of stuff, I've found it to truly in my heart being like, hey, life happens. And if I don't get a video out this week, I don't get a video out this week. Like this week, I'm not getting a video out. I've been really busy this week, and I'm in my world. I'm tearing down a lot of trees to clear out for a witch farm, but it's taking a while because I'm kind of in a mangrove swamp and a jungle and a dark oak forest. But that's besides the point. It's taking quite some time, but I found that piece of like not having to be like consistent because at the end of the day with my belief in my faith, if the Lord wants me here, he'll make it happen.
things will come
Joe,
together.
should we feel bad that we've made someone have to like convert to Christianity in order to feel good about themselves after kicking them out of the podcast?
Don't win it like that. He doesn't mean it like that.
Hey, to be fair, after I stepped away from the podcast, it was like 3 years, and then I converted. So I mean,
Okay. I know that was 3 years of grieving. Must have been hard. So I do.
It was
hard.
It was the worst.
There was many crying nights.
Bottle of whiskey in each hand, playing Minecraft. I see it. I see the vision.
I do think you're right. You know, I've came to terms with that. You know, with me going down to go see more recently. I was down there for 3 weeks at her house, and it was lovely. We had a great time.
For
but
a quick
I'm not making videos for a quick 5 minutes. I was down there for 3 weeks, and I had a wonderful, amazing time. And ever since I moved away from my father and stuff, not to throw him under the bus as I've done so many times, my father I was quite in a bubble. You know, I wasn't really able to live life. And especially because I was focusing all my energy on my online life at that point in time, it meant that there was no time for me to have a personal real life. And like what I mentioned, there's always there's a scale to it. You know, if you put too much on one side, the other side goes down. You know, that's just kind of how
the balance is really difficult. I find, I'm not sure if this is something everyone feels, isn't it? It might be because it's obviously such a common issue. But as soon as I start going off and working on myself as a human being, you know, seeing people that I enjoy the company of in real life and hanging out with family and doing whatever, I start to find it really hard to be interested in a lot of content creating stuff. You start to go like, wow, there is more to it than looking at like a YouTube studio that says, by the way, you're doing nothing. And as soon as you do that, it's so hard to get started with it again. And I think that's something I'm currently experiencing. You obviously both experienced. Definitely. And I think it's honestly scary how committed people can be to the internet, because
I know
I feel like you do lose a lot of yourself to it.
It is very scary. And I mean, we all have lives that, in my opinion, are more important than YouTube. And a lot of people find their identity in YouTube. I mean, you're married, right, Joe?
Well, Mr. Joe there, he is not married. He used to say the wife, but he's not married.
Oh, okay. See, that's where I'm confused, because you always said the wife. So
I've stolen his term, and now I call Reed
that has aged pretty badly. But yeah.
But you have your girl, right? And
gosh, he recently went for a breakup. Don't worry, Brad. You're not on the wrong terms. Don't worry.
I'm not stressed at all, by the way. I'm just trying to wind you up.
Brad is blushing. Look at Brad. He's red. He's blushing suddenly.
Man.
He's like, I'm so sorry, Brad. Don't worry. You didn't know. You don't the flintlock. Oh gosh, but no, but Joe's on his own journey right now, and he's also on a better journey. I'd say, Joe, you would say definitely. You know,
I'm doing great.
Things are going good for Joe. He's on a better place, and I think that's for all of us. That's kind of the thing, and that's really one of the biggest reasons why I wanted us to get together and do this episode, because you know we all are on different journeys. We've came so far in these past 3 and 5 years. I think if you look back, a lot's changed for us. Like, Joe, I can't take you serious like that. I can't take you serious like that.
I was trying so hard.
No, it's fine. I know. I love you, Brad. I know you're trying. But we've all came so far in our lives, and I hope that for all of us, we're on a much better path than where we were at 3 or 5 years ago. I can definitely say I am, and from my perception, from what I've seen, it looks like both you guys are as well. I'm so proud to have you guys as friends. I want to say that right here, right now. It's like a loving little note, because this is my final question before Joe signs us off with the final last question. The
Damn right.
But I really got to say, like, guys, I love you both. I thank you both so much for making this podcast possible, because if it wasn't for you two, we wouldn't have done this. We wouldn't have made this thing happen. And we've came so far in these past 5 years, all of us individually and together as friends, I guess, in our own way. And man, I'm so happy to be able to be here and have a chat with you guys and be able to, you know, say that we're on a better track, all of us.
I think everyone went up for sure. Like, I don't know. I was waiting for like Brad to come on and be like, "Yeah, by the way, everything's gone to shit. This is my last message or something."
No.
This is it.
Absolutely not. Like, I would not.
No.
Imagine my disappointment.
I was just thinking about the other day, before you even texted me, Joe. Just thinking about like 2018, December or October 31st, 2018 is when you started streaming.
Yeah, yeah, October. Wow, yeah, exactly. I started actively doing the live streamings every weekend on October 31st. Completely right, October 31st.
Halloween night. I remember that.
Yeah, you were the one of the biggest sports back. I know, Joe, you were there as well, of course. I mean, there was that meme, Joe. You remember the Fallout meme? What if I don't pay?
What if we don't pay? Yeah.
What if I don't pay? That was a big thing, and I remember doing that. And I mean, guys, you guys have been, you know, you guys are my brothers, man. We've been at this since, you know, the get go. We've been here for a long time.
Man, even saying 2018 feels
it
so surreal now.
It sounds
I remember
crazy.
that being the present and it being like peak everything, gaming, YouTube, motivation, fun,
Minecraft, the whole
happiness,
thing. Yeah.
no adulting, and now it's all like, oh, 2024, I want to kill myself. You know, it's like
We're-
it's
we're-
glorious.
Whoa, whoa.
We're suddenly though, you know, when you reflect like that, it's like, wow, 5 years have gone past so quickly, 6 years have gone past so quickly.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy how fast time flies past, and this is why I wanted to do this as well, because we have got, you know, you could really say obviously there's more than three, but really these three key moments of our journey, all three of us, at least us three. We've got the
Yeah.
inception of the podcast, 2019, October 31st, special time, special moment for all of us. And then, obviously, of course, Brad, your return, you know, which, again, 3 years ago now. And that was obviously for episode 14. And that was you telling us where you're at and what's going on with your content creation journey. And then, obviously, here we are now. Again, better, more, you know, I guess we've had more experience in this thing called life. We're further along in our lives and hopefully in better places. And I think that definitely is the case for all of us. So I really am happy at that.
I hold it so dear in my heart that every 4th of July I'm able to text Mr. Joe right here every 4th of July saying yeah, happy birthday, America.
I'm gonna come over there and I'm gonna reclaim what we left because I
I'm
swear
going to reclaim what we
fuck,
left. What a line! What a line!
The redcoats are coming back.
And-
Watch your shores. Watch your shores.
I'll just take the tea bag out of my
Oh, we
cabinet.
throw your tea in the ocean. Shut your fucking mouth.
But
Oh,
You're lucky I can't see your neck right now with that beard because
it's gonna get you.
man,
Oh.
a lot of things have definitely changed and for the better. I mean, like I really appreciate both of you, especially Joe, Catman Joe. You know,
It's,
I was about to
it's like,
say.
which one? Which one is it?
you like
Oh.
you just messaged me on Twitter back in 2018, just encouraging me to continue going on YouTube and all that kind of stuff when I first started. And it was just like, you guys have definitely been like an encouragement to keep going. Watching little Joe here find his
Don't
niche.
call me that. I'll kill you.
You're now little Joe.
It is, man. It's awesome how many people I've got to meet and you know got to work with for the years. I know it's the same for you guys as well. I know we've all met wonderful, amazing people, and I'm just so glad I got to meet you both because you guys have been two of the most important people I've met from YouTube and two of the really my best friends from YouTube when it comes down to it as well. Like I've got a good few really good friends from YouTube, but you guys have been two of the people I've known the longest, but also as well had the longest ongoing kind of relationship with when it comes down to working and doing stuff, and also just being together as friends. You know what I mean? So I gotta say thank you for that. It's awesome. I'm humbled by it. I'm really glad to be here with you guys, and we have to say that.
What
we're
is
still
it? The
here.
giggling. Why are you like stumbling on this? Is this like really insincere or something?
It means a lot to me. You say it means a lot
You're
to
like,
me. All right.
I really like you guys.
I really like you guys. Not. You say no. I'm kidding. No.
He's trying not to cry. Okay, little
That's
Joe,
what it is.
Trying not to
Scots don't cry. They're made of pure evil and Nesquik. But yeah, that's that.
I'll let Joe do the transition.
Yeah.
I'll let Joe
Oh, you
do
want
the
me to do it?
You got the.
I've got the what?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree, guys. Thank you. I'm going to redo this later anyway. It'd be fine. Do one. Right. Bradley. Shh. Adults are talking. As our final question for you, Brad, I want.
Joe's face. Excuse him. What?
Flashbang. Holy shit. God. Putting them back on. I hate the light.
gosh.
With you starting your content creation journey now over 5 years ago, coming all the way from making content streaming on your PS4 to being able to produce high quality content on par with creators you looked up to when you originally started, and with hundreds of videos along with streams under your belt, you've certainly left your footprint on the digital world. But with you seemingly taking a step back from the internet to focus more on personal life, family, livelihood, and future, it does leave us with a question of what will the future look like for the SepticSpud channel?
I've always thought about that, especially more recently, and I think that SepticSpud will still be a channel that a lot of people can go to for a chill, fun, like just Minecraft survival experience, just to enjoy, you know, the old days of Minecraft survival. I don't plan on changing it up to be like fast paced like all these other content creators who have done like the hardcore series, 100 days and all that kind of stuff. I just like the chill style playthrough, and I feel like it's not going to be every week that I'll have a video out, but it'll be a somewhat consistent schedule. Now, then again, the Lord could have me do something else. He could be like, "Hey, this season of YouTube is done for you." I don't know.
And it's time for OnlyFans.
Oh
Get
boy.
it?
Oh boy.
Oh boy. But yeah, I have a lot of things in the future planned, not just YouTube, but just things in my personal life. Like I'm going to be starting to go to this school to get a ministry degree.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and so
Aren't they like the
just
chocolate things? Oh, that's minstrels. Don't worry. Shut up.
You know what he's like,
What's
Brad. You know what
ministry?
he's like. Too cynical.
What's
Too
ministry?
cynical.
What is ministry?
ministry is like being a pastor, like finding your calling.
Well,
with-
oh, like
with
a
Lord's
fetish.
calling. Yeah,
That's not even a fucking pasta. That's cheese. Kill me! Kill me! I need to be put down.
Oh, he's too much, Brad, isn't he? He's too much.
you got the flintlock. It's all right, but yeah, I have a lot planned, and I do feel like YouTube is still SepticSpud is still part of it. So
Good. I'm glad to hear, man. Because we are in an era where, and this is kind of honestly, Brad, you are the first of what was really planned to be 3. You could say legacy remakes, which is where we're going back and we're dipping our toes back into the past and we're remaking 3 episodes from our original 1 to 20 lineup that were our favorites. And obviously, I know you already, I think, know one of the guys, Travis. Obviously, of course, I know you know Travis, but I mean, in that regard, and the big kind of theme was that we're seeing people now after, I mean, many years of us all being on this platform. We are unfortunately at that point where we are starting to see creators leave. People that started it like all of us with the dream, with the passion, with the goal of becoming a full-time YouTuber and doing this, and not being able
We're
to
watching the
hold on to
weak
that.
die, is what we're telling you.
Well, the weak is not the word I'd use, but I know he's being sarcastic. But when it comes down to it, we are seeing people that we have known for years, that we loved, and we really really appreciate them. They're going.
It is
They're
weird though,
disappearing.
because it is a process you've seen for such a long time. I mean, perfect example is Kiwi, right? Like
Kiwi,
all the way in the beginning,
Tia,
Kiwi, very close friend of us, Tia, yeah, and
Z-Storm more recently.
yeah,
Plenty of people. There's
that
plenty
makes
of
me so
people. I mean,
sad. Z-Storm.
yeah, there's so many names that I could no doubt list off if I really thought about.
I have a
people that
digital
were so
graveyard
talented.
essentially. We should make one. We should make a digital
Yeah,
graveyard.
a digital graveyard.
You know who I keep seeing and they're still going at it is
Who?
Rolly Egg.
Rolly, God love
Yeah.
Rolly, he's still going at it. Yeah, Rolly's still at it. I mean, Dragon, he's another person who quit. Planet Dragon, he fully quit. He's gone. And like I said, with all the others and stuff, but Rolly's still at it. And there's a lot of people in our community that, thank the Lord, are keeping at it, and they are continuing to try and work and make this thing work. And whether this is destined to be anyone's full-time job or whatever, that's to be decided, right? Let's not think about it like that. I like the idea of us just still doing it as content creators that have a passion and an interest in doing this, not for money, but just because we enjoy doing it. And that is first and foremost. If you're here for the money, you're probably going to be gone in no time.
Yeah,
If you're here for the passion, if any of us here, us 3 or many of our friends,
my
that we've
biggest
known,
branding
were here
thing
for money,
that
they would
did
be
the
gone.
best was not going to pay me for the rest of the month. It's
No,
like, people shouldn't be like coming into. People are really swayed with like, because when you look into successful YouTubers, you think Mr. Beast, right? Or you think like I don't know,
PewDiePie,
someone
or whoever it may
stupid
be.
like proper ISO speed making tons and tons and tons. You need to be pulling in ridiculous amounts of people, and there is only so many people that are going to find you as an individual as interesting as they find someone else.
And it's hard. Listen, and I'm sure all 3 of us, you could say the same thing. This is not an overnight thing. Some people are very blessed and very lucky to be able to upload their first video and get overnight success. Fantastic, well done to them, and God love them. But a lot of us, you have to work at it for years. It takes years and years and years of work. What you practice in private often is what gets praised in public later on in life. But it does take a long time. And again, this is a journey. It's not a sprint. If anything, it's a marathon. You're gonna be running this for a while. So get ready. Chill out and get used to it. Because it's not always
I'm in a
gonna be
wheelchair.
up.
That's how it feels.
See, when I started, I wasn't looking at the money aspect. I was looking at that nice YouTube 100,000
The play
YouTube
button.
plaque play
Dude,
button.
yeah,
That's what I was.
You should have been in the UK.
Still my goal. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
we actually, really coolly enough, I've got it back there in a little box. I don't know if you can see that little box there. We actually got, it was a UK only thing, unfortunately, or else it would be awesome. But anybody who's in the partner program, who's obviously earning money from YouTube, they got gifts in the UK. We both got that play button. That's a neon play button sign, really for free, completely
You
for
got the
free
little
from
Lego
YouTube.
one as well, which is
We've
cool.
the little red one that you can see on Joe's shelf up there. That's a little Lego play button as well. We both got lots of awesome little gifts. Like we you know, you can get treats. It's brilliant. So it's really awesome. It's kind of, we're starting to get little treats. I've more recently been interviewed by YouTube. This is my second time now. I literally just done an interview on Thursday or Friday actually, with YouTube themselves, like one of the colleagues from YouTube, to talk about upcoming features. I can't say too much because of NDAs, but I can tell you guys off camera. But like, you know, I can't say too much. But yeah, I'm more recently going to be going for my third one at some point soon, because they contacted me literally the day after my interview. So the thing is, you know, it takes time, but you will get rewarded. But it does take time. You've got to work hard, and you've got to as well understand that, you know, it doesn't happen overnight. You know,
Yeah.
and along the way, if you can, if possible, meet some wonderful, amazing people like these guys right here. You know, that's definitely the way to do it. And well, I think on that note, it's a great note to end us off on there right now. So I want to say, Bradley, real quick, once again, thank you so much, my brother, for coming back on and joining us for another episode of the podcast. We know that you know, you're taking time out of your day and you've got things to do and stuff, but I really appreciate you coming here, making some time for this, man. It means the absolute world to both myself and, of course, to Joe, obviously. And guys, I got to say to both you guys, and obviously us three as a collective, thank you guys, and thank all of us for being able to have made this happen, and to have started this together, and to so many years now, 5 years down the line, half a decade down the line, we're still here, we're still around, we're still working on content,
We'll
we're
do it again
still
in 5
trying to
years,
get to that next step, and we're still just working on ourselves. We're not
and we'll do it
perfect,
in
but we're working
person,
towards it.
and
Exactly,
we'll have a fight
exactly.
to the death.
Yes.
Yes.
5 years
Yeah.
from now, exactly, you know what I'm saying?
Five
No,
years
no.
from now, we'll have like 10 million subscribers each. It's all right.
Exactly,
It's all
exactly,
right.
that's what it'll be. It'll be 5 years.
Don't do that, because Joe's gonna be dead. I'm gonna
Oh.
overdose, and you'll probably be like praying for us or something. I don't know,
Yeah,
but it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be good.
Guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of the Forgotten Podcast, episode 54, 40 episodes
Fucking
after
hell.
Brad's initial debut. And Brad, once again, thank you for coming on. Check out Brad's channel. It will be linked down below in the description. Check out both me and Joe's channel if you're interested. And other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of the podcast. And hopefully we'll see you guys in the next one.
Thank you.
Bye.
Adios.
Bye.